Good afternoon. Pleased to announce the meeting will begin for the April 8th meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners. Let's stand, and Ron, would you take us through the pledge?
Hold on.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Caparelli is not going to be with us today. I'm pleased to announce that his son, Brian Caparelli, is being sworn in, I believe, today as the Commissioner of Consumer Protection for the state of Connecticut. That's wonderful. And Brian has worked very diligently for the past decade in Hartford, but it's a wonderful accomplishment for both he and his family. First, starting off, we have a motion to approve the draft minutes of the meeting of March 8, 2023. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Then we have the Officer of Quarter Award presentation.
The Officer of the Quarter program is in place to recognize officers who understand, embrace, support, and further the Fairfield Police Department's mission to make Fairfield safer. Certain character traits have been identified by the supervisory staff as being critically important to carrying out our mission. These character traits are as follows: attitude, personality, initiative, fitness and appearance, and job proficiency. On March 15, 2023, the lieutenants and sergeants of the Patrol Division met and after careful deliberation unanimously selected Officer C.M. Rubitz, that's Chris, as Officer of the Quarter for the second quarter of 2023. Officer Rubitz has displayed the following traits for this prestigious recognition. Personality: Officer Rubitz, since joining the police department, has demonstrated an eagerness to learn, develop his skills, and work to become a reliable team player in the Patrol Division. He has proven to be reliable and responsible and can be trusted and completed tasks with minimal supervision. He has an excellent relationship with his peers and supervisors alike. Officer Rubitz is empathetic and understanding with the people he interacts with on the road and treats people with respect. Officer Rubitz shows up to work with a smile on his face, a positive disposition, and is ready to work. He does not shy away from assignments and completes his work thoroughly to the best of his ability. Officer Rubitz maintains his professionalism and consideration when dealing with routine and sensitive matters. He's always ready to lend someone a hand if they need help and volunteers for assignments without hesitation. Officer Rubitz continues to stay in good physical shape for the challenges of the road, and his uniform and command presence are squared away. Officer Rubitz does not shy away from being proactive and continuously takes ownership of his patrol area and calls for service. He has been a consistent producer, not only with proactive work, but with his investigations from initial response through the completion of the warrant application. Officer Rubitz recently performed exceptionally well during a violent domestic violence sexual assault investigation. He was responsible for recognizing the seriousness of the crime, crucial evidence to be seized and preserved, coordinating with his supervisors to quickly and safely take the offender into custody, and completing all investigative reports and additional paperwork in a timely manner. Officer Rubitz takes pride in his job, and that can directly be seen in the quality of his work product. It is our pleasure to present Officer C.M. Rubitz with the Officer of the Quarter Award. Congratulations.
If I could just add that we not only get the benefit of Chris Rubitz, but we also get the benefit of Chris Rubitz Sr., who is one of our senior officers with about 26 years on, I think. And it's nice to have both of the family members on the department.
And Dad received it, what, a year ago?
Yeah, they're both on
First father, son,
Yeah.
Very nice.
Congratulations. The board congratulates you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
you are on the perpetual line.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. You guys all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, absolutely. Thank you, that's nice. Could pick right here. Yeah, absolutely. Hold this. Hold here. I got my note. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Very much.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Have a good rest of your day.
Next on the agenda, we have the FCRD recognition.
Yeah, I just wanted to, take a moment to, recognize, Lieutenant Paris and Pete Coble, who's not here this evening. You know, we took on the Fairfield County Regional Dispatch Center. It started out as a project, you know, and when we had our dispatch center, but when we merged Westport in, it was like a whole nother animal that dealt with not only technology, but personnel matters, union issues, and basically a whole new way of operating for both fire and police in Westport. Mike and Pete both together worked diligently with all those entities, not only the technology part, but the union representatives and also the staff members, you know, onboarding all the HR issues and challenges that come with it. And I just wanted to take a moment to recognize them to the commission and the hard work that they put forth to get the FCRD up and running. And I'm very, very proud of them. And there has been no shortages of challenges up there, but they've actually done a really good job in keeping those issues to a minimum. So I just want to recognize that.
Took about 10 years off my life.
I can imagine.
The administrative headaches, right? Thank you. Next, going on to traffic surveys. Ken, would you?
Sure. Okay, traffic survey number 1. Sunset Avenue, between Rogers Road and Stevens Lane. Nature of request to install stop signs and stop bars on Sunset Avenue for northbound and southbound traffic at the Rogers Road Stevens Lane intersection, making it an all-way stop due to line of sight issues. By whom? Lieutenant Hector Irizarry. And the recommendation is to approve and to install stop signs and stop bars on Sunset Avenue for northbound and southbound traffic at the Rogers Road Stevens Lane intersection, making it an all-way stop due to the line of sight issues.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
I'd like to just comment, if I may. I travel that way every day to go to Enzo's Market, pizza place. And, it's a dangerous intersection there with, when you come to that stop sign, the cars coming down the hill and going up the hill, they travel very fast. And it's a wonderful place for a stop sign. It's a great idea. So thank you so much. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Second.
Second one is survey number 2, location, Carter Henry Drive at Sanford Street, westbound. Nature of request to install a stop sign at Carter Henry and Sanford Street, westbound, making the intersection an all-stop intersection. Also add a secondary crosswalk back sign backing the existing posted crosswalk sign to highlight the crosswalk from both sides of the road. By whom? Lieutenant Hector Irizarry. And the recommendation is to approve and install the stop sign at Carter Henry and Sanford Street westbound, making the intersection an all-stop intersection.
What about that fence?
Yes, well, there's 2 modifications, Commissioner. First, the fence, there's a gap in the fence that encourages jaywalking. And if I could, I'll share this.
I saw that.
Okay, full support. I made copies for you guys.
Right here, so people. So my question for that is, do we need approval from the Park Authority and DOT?
I relayed this information to Eileen Orr this morning, and she is in full support of closing that gate or that railing, because it encourages jaywalking.
How would that affect foot traffic?
It will force the pedestrians to use the crosswalk at the stop sign if approved at the intersection. And then no those have to be removed, the crosswalk signs, that is. Because we cannot have a stop sign and a crosswalk sign at the same intersection, and that's for engineering.
Any other, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
That's it.
Just go to,
Monthly report. I'm sorry, new business. Kevin?
Okay, new business. We have an $80 cash donation from an anonymous woman as a donation and a thank you for all the good work that we do for animals to the shelter. The second one is a $100 check, number 194, from Patricia O'Rourke through her attorney Brian Cantor as a donation for the wonderful care and rehoming of her 2 cats. And in loving memory of Charles Chick Fulton, the following total donation was made, $350.
Motion to accept the, donation.
So moved.
Now, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Now, we're up to the monthly report.
Yeah, we're moving right along here.
Moving right along.
Any comments on the monthly report?
I just have one, Villa Avenue's been a, kind of a, I don't know what the right word is, but in the news a lot. And I wonder if Lieutenant Carizari would be able to give us the stats on the tickets or fractured canal Villa Avenue in the last couple of months.
Yes, sir. So between March 1st and October 10th of 2022, we had a total of 45 stops with 23 motor vehicle arrests in that corridor. Between October 11th, 2022 and March 27th, we had an additional 232 traffic stops resulting in 110 motor vehicle arrests.
Well, that's great.
All within that Villa corridor. So we're just trying to increase our presence and enforcement through education.
Yeah, hopefully it'll.
Are we getting the message out?
I hope we are.
Yeah.
The Black Hat studies, we did some speed analysis on there, and we have, the latest study showed that the average speed on that road is 30 miles an hour. That is since the fog line have been
Yeah.
in place, and that is an increase of 2 miles an hour from the last speed study in 2022. So we went from 28 to 30 miles an hour for an average speed.
Now, this is not in the monthly report, Hector, but can you relate to the board, the meeting we had today with the first selectman, Ron?
Sure. So we're trying to tackle the issues of ongoing complaints with speeding within that corridor from Brooklawn Avenue to Greenfield Street. So we met with DPW Engineering, the chief and I, and a number of other representatives from the town, just trying to brainstorm some ideas with regards to slowing traffic down in that area. We're going to take advantage of a gas company project that is coming up on Villa Avenue. They're going to be replacing gas lines. The tentative start date is April 24th, and it's going to be a 4-week-long project. After that is completed, they're going to put down a temporary pavement surface, and we will have some opportunities to experiment with different engineering designs to try to get some traffic calming measures in place. And then we will propose whatever ideas they determine will be most effective to the police commission for approval, and hopefully implement that spring of next year.
I think it's probably fair to say that the first selectwoman and is assiduously on good job trying to resolve the issues there.
Absolutely.
From Vassar Avenue to the Dunkin' Donuts area, but on Villa Avenue. So that's great that we're helping them. But that issue was before us in April of 2022.
That's correct. That's when the initial request for stop signs at Villa and Lewis was placed. And since then, we've been tackling different approaches and evaluating different countermeasures to slow the speed down, that are all MUTCD compliant, and that's key.
Thank you so much. Any other, questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Noise ordinance, is there any more progress on it, or where do we stand? Do we have more information?
So, yeah, we, Captain Wyatt worked a little bit with Jill Vergara, and like the day before, it went before the RTM, or it was on the agenda to go before the RTM, they pulled the agenda item to reevaluate their approach to, I guess, reworking the noise ordinance. It's in my opinion that those who were proposing it, kind of lofted it with the intent that we needed extra tools to do our jobs. And, you know, in fact, there are state statutes that cover most of the stuff. I'm not in opposition of changing the way the ordinance is read, because some of it is antiquated, where we would use a noise measuring device to evaluate whether we have probable cause or not to issue an infraction. But we have other tools within the state statute that we can use for that. So, and we have been. We would rarely go to an ordinance. We would always go to the state statute in cases that we would take enforcement action.
And can't we use breach of peace in some cases?
That would be one of the charges that we historically use.
Okay.
Or disorderly conduct.
Right,
Or
there's laws on the books already,
creating
right?
public
Mhm.
disturbance, correct.
Right, because I've heard a lot of complaints from a lot of people, you know, from the public, you know, especially the time frame. People were all complaining about it. So can you just keep me updated in case there is a meeting? Maybe I could go to it?
I will.
Yeah.
Well, that will be coming back on the RTM agenda, I assume.
It would come back on the RTM agenda. I would imagine that they would seek some input from
Legislation?
from us
Okay.
when they nail down the legislation that they want to propose. You know, we kind of identified some of the gap, the holes in the proposed plan, but they still were moving forward with it. And then it got retracted when, I guess about the time when I finally said that, you know, we have the tools we need, we don't need any more.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So are they attempting to soften it up a little bit? Is that the direction they're moving, or?
You know, I think so I think some of it was driven by those in the beach area that have a tendency to see more noise complaints. But they also have a tendency to see more enforcement action down in the beach area, because that's where most of the enforcement action takes place. And I think it was driven by people who lived at the beach more so than the entire community. And if they're gonna put a noise ordinance in place, I think it has to be adjusted so that it, you know, is agreed upon by the entire town, as opposed to just a certain section of town.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. And my other question is, we've seen this in the past with other legislation, you know, when there's state statutes that govern a whole bunch of stuff, and you try to either overlap it over here locally, and you don't match everything up. Don't you at some point potentially get into issues for what's governing what you're doing, and which book are you following, and, yeah, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, so I think what they're trying to do here, I think after reevaluating, I think what they're going to do is try to change the ordinance so that it looks more like the state statutes, or even address the state statutes in the ordinance.
Right.
Yeah, because what happens with a town ordinance is we issue an infraction for a town ordinance, and if they appeal that process, it goes before essentially the parking board of appeals. There's no method in place, and I talked with the town attorney on this just the other day. If they plead not guilty on the infraction, the state court is not going to handle a town ordinance violation. So the question was, where does the appeal go? Does the appeal go to, we currently have a parking enforcement arm that maybe once every 2 months, whoever appeals a parking ticket can come before a hearing officer, and they hear that case. And we kind of thought that that would be the venue for if a town ordinance was challenged.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Any other comments or questions with respect to the monthly report? If that's the case, I think we're, ready to go into the executive session.
I'll make a motion to go then into executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Back on, next meeting is, May 10th. Okay, other than that, a motion to, adjourn?
Well, before you do that, can you just, say that there was no votes or motions made
Right.
in the executive session?
Can do.
Thank you.
There were no votes,
No motion.
no motions made
No
with respect to the executive session. So-
No votes taken. Yeah, all right. I'll second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So approved. Very good.
Thank you, sir.